Alright, not only are we getting Kensa Collection Round 2 today, but we're also getting Splatoon 2 version 4.1.0, so let's jump right into the patch notes. It's a bit smaller than last time, but there are quite a few interesting changes here. First off on the notes is changes to game music. 4 new songs have been added to multiplayer matches. Now I don't 100% remember if these are all from one new band, but I know at least 2 of them are, and it's interesting because one of the members of this new group was a member of the group Squid Squad from the first game, who left his old group and then formed a new one in the 2 years in between the 2 games. I guess technically 3 if the year Splatoon 2's been out so far also counts as canon in universe. So that's actually really cool. There's even more continuity between the games behind the scene. Believe it or not, Splatoon actually has a lot of lore even in the present day. So that's pretty cool. Next up, changes to multiplayer. Bug fixes. Only like 6 of them this time, so it's better than usual. Less completely broken things have happened, so hey, I'm not complaining. And then we got the actual weapon changes, which are, let's be honest, this is what most of you are here for. Splooshomatic. When shots hit, their ink splatter will now extend further forward than it did previously, so it's still, this actually goes for Sploosh, Neo Sploosh, Splattershot Jr., Custom Splattershot Jr., Aerospray MG, and Aerospray RG, so all of, like, the really short-range shooter weapons. It says their ink splatter will now extend further forward than it did previously. Now, that seems to imply that they actually got a slight range buff, but I believe this is somewhat of a mistranslation. No, it isn't. Okay, I pulled up a translation by a guy who's well-known in the competitive Splatoon community, who obviously speaks Japanese, does that kind of stuff. So, I'm going to be cross-referencing that with the actual patch notes in case there's something that seems to be incorrect. So, yeah, these 3 weapons actually got a painting range buff. It's not a damage range buff, but they now paint further in front of where they used to, and that's actually pretty cool. Both versions of the Splattershot Pro, and I should probably say all 3, because there's a new one coming out, or eventually, it was data mined. It's out. What am I talking about? I don't know what I'm talking about. The Kensa Pro will have this change too. Ink is now more likely to land around a player's feet when firing, which basically means you're more likely to cover your feet with a close landing ink droplet, so hey, you can swim out easier, and that's nice. And the ink splatter that lands closest to the player when firing is more likely to land closer to the player than it did previously, so not only is ink more likely to land near you, but the specific splat out of any group of them that comes out at once, that lands near you, is more likely to land actually under your feet, which is nice. 96 and 96 Deco, extended firing range by roughly 6%. I believe this makes it somewhat reliably outrange both Splattershot Pro and the H3 Nozzle Nose. And people are really trying to, they're really trying to get 96 Deco to be relevant again, which I'm not complaining about, but we'll see a few more things about that later on. All versions of Dynamo, Kensa Dynamo is also coming out, so it'll get this change too, will now also ink turf closer to the player in addition to previous ink coverage and I can't read that. Performing a horizontal swing. Swing. My god. You can tell I'm doing this one in one take. Jeez. Alright. This basically means that it covers everything it used to, but it also covers stuff closer to you. So this is again with getting stuff underfoot, and it doesn't help the damage range, again, but it also makes the weapon paint better, and that's, like, really good, because Dynamo doesn't paint particularly well. And it's a lot more useful and helps you get out of close quarter situations, which a Dynamo really doesn't want to be in, so it's actually legitimately pretty good. Flings a roller, extended range in which a horizontal swing will deal 100 or more damage by roughly 5%. So basically, its lethal radius got expanded very slightly. I don't think this change is too relevant at all. GooTuber, tap shots get increased by 27% range, and the range scaling of other non-fully charged shots has also been increased, so basically the minimum range GooTuber can fire was increased by 27%, the maximum range was kept the same, and the way range scales as you charge was readjusted to go along with that. Stop trying to make GooTuber relevant, just delete it from the game, or do something big in one patch that actually makes it good. I don't know. Nautilus increased velocity of fired shots by roughly 133% while making no change to firing range. Oh my god, that's probably the biggest percent increase I've seen at all in this game, so that's pretty big. Basically, you don't need to lead your shots as much when you're using it, so that's interesting. I don't know how much more useful it'll make it, but hey, it's a good change, so We take those. All versions of Undercover Umbrella, while damage from a single shot remains at 40, the damage from peripheral ink splatter has been increased from 10 to 12. So, this is kind of dumb. Basically, indirect shots had their damage buffed by 2. I don't know how much this is gonna do. Like, I guess it makes 2 direct and 1 indirect when they're standing in your ink slightly more viable, so I don't know, it might end up being particularly useful, but I'm not sure. Here comes the second 96 deco buff. Splash Wall. Decrease the time between the splash wall being used and when ink recovery begins by a full quarter second, aka 15 frames. So, you could get your ink back starting a lot faster after you throw the wall this time, and hey, that's probably pretty good. I don't know how much it's going to do, but hey, we take those. Tenta missiles. Shorten time between firing of each missile, so basically decrease the duration overall. Or the duration where you're vulnerable. So, you're safer while using them, so it's safer to use them, basically. They don't do more damage or anything, but, like, they're not more useful offensively. It just makes a lot more situations in which you would be safe to use them, basically. Splashdown. This is the third 96 deco buff. Decreased reduction of special gauge if the user is splatted in the time between activating the special, but before landing with it from 50% to 25%. So, if you get killed while you're, like, going up on your splashdown, you only lose a quarter of your special gauge. That's, like, under 50 points of ink for pretty much every weapon that has splashdown. So that's really good. Splashdown basically got turned into a spam special. Increased damage dealt by the splashdown to bubbles fired from the bubble blower, ensuring they will be destroyed if struck by it. So they're going back into what this game really originally was, where specials weren't as universally powerful as they were in the first game, but they were intentionally designed where one special will actually counter another one. Granted, a lot of other specials are kind of still up there in the brokenness, but splashdown countering bubble is pretty cool. Also, decrease the points required using the splashdown in several of the weapon sets that include it, which leads us cleanly into specifications for X power and League power in ranked battles. No, I read the wrong headline. Specifications for points required for some specials have been adjusted. Swishmatic, 10-point buff, 170 to 160. 96 Deco, 10-point buff, 180 to 170. Ink Brush, 10-point buff, 160 to 150. Hydra Splatling, 20-point buff, 190 to 170. It's a lot of splashdown weapons here in case you can't tell. Undercover Umbrella, 10-point buff, 160 to 150. Vanilla Charger and variants, including Scope, 190 to 200. Firefin and Scope, 200 to 210. And Parry Dualies, 200 to 210, and Kensa Splat Dualies, 190 to 210. So, Dualies getting a bit of a point nerf, so they have to turf a lot more to get their specials out, which is good because they turf a lot. And Inkjet getting indirectly nerfed by everything yet again, and still probably going to remain at least somewhat useful. But whatever. Let's see. Changes to X power and League power in ranked battles. When playing Ranked or League as a pair, your rank meter, X power, or League power will no longer decrease when playing with fewer members on your team due to DCs for an even shorter period than was previously the case. I'm not sure what that actually means. Let's check the... alright. So the other patch notes didn't actually talk about any of this stuff, so I think that means that if you're in twin squads and someone DCs, the grace period gets lowered even more, which is kind of interesting. And then, if the internet disconnections prevent a player from finishing enough matches out of the last few dozen matches played, the decrease to their rank meter or X power for each subsequent unfinished match will be greater than it was previously. So, in order to counteract that, people who DC a lot will lose rank a lot faster. So it's finally actually punishing people with bad internet. I'm actually kind of very okay with this, because if they're not going to include dedicated servers, then they better penalize people who use bad internet to their advantage to, like, win and stuff. So if you DC a lot, you lose rank a lot. Don't play this game unless you have good internet, please! Anyway, changes to Salmon Run. Players are now able to review stats from their last 50 Salmon Run jobs via the Switch Online app, so it's basically going to be another tab in there, just like the tab for regular, like, battles and stuff. And one bug fix. Other changes. Voice chat will now be available via the Switch Online app when playing with friends in certain modes, even when creating rooms without selecting Online Lounge. So, VC is still not available with randos, which I kind of understand why they're doing that for Splatoon, but it's also now available anytime when you're not specifically using the app to create a room. You can VC with friends as long as you're in a lobby together. Just use Discord. I don't think you need to be told this. This applies to the following modes which previously functioned with the online lounge feature: League Battle, Private Battle, all Splatfest with friends, and Salmon Run. Still just use Discord. Fix an issue, fix an issue, fix an issue, fix an issue, fix an issue. Everything else is just bug fixes, so I forget what the new weapons for the Kensa collection are, so I'm just going to quickly go over those. So we got 4 new weapons, and basically each of them is going to have either the new Fizzy Bomb sub-weapon or the new Spirit Bomb, aka Booyah Bomb special weapon. The funny thing about the Booyah Bomb is, obviously it's a Dragon Ball reference, but with the actual naming of it, they, like, actually kept that thing. So, Booyah, the Booyah command, says nice in the Japanese version of the game, so the Japanese name of the Booyah Bomb is the Naisudama, basically translating to nice ball. But obviously, so the Spirit Bomb's Japanese name is Genki-dama, which translates to something that a lot of people have argued over, and I don't speak Japanese, so I'm not even going to try, but Dama means ball more, and that was translated into Spirit Bomb by whoever first translated that portion of the Dragon Ball Z anime. English version of the weapon is the Booyah Bomb, so they translated Dama to bomb in a special weapon intentionally referencing Dragon Ball, so that's actually really cool. Never say that Nintendo doesn't have good translators, because that's just a really good translation quirk. Anyway, we got the Kensa Luna Blaster with Fizzy Bomb and Ink Storm. We got the Kensa Dynamo Roller with Sprinkler and Booyah Bomb. We got the Kensa Sloshing Machine with Fizzy Bomb and Splashdown. And the Kensa Splattershot Pro, okay, here it is, with the Splat Bomb and Booyah Bomb. Interestingly, Kensa Pro is basically just vanilla Splattershot Pro from Splatoon 1. They kind of did that with the Kensa Splattershot, like the Kensa regular Splattershot, which has Suction Bomb Tenta Missiles, which is basically Tentatech Splattershot from Splatoon 1. And from a little gameplay snippet, we've seen that pretty much the max size of the Booyah Bomb does cover about the same amount of ground as an Ink Strike did in the first game. So really, they're just kind of bringing the game full circle. They're trying to take things people liked in Splatoon 1 and just kind of meshing them back into Splatoon 2, which is actually kind of nice. Hey, it's Splattershot Pro, I'm probably going to play that out of all the new weapons. Also, be sure to look out for a stream announcement video, because my team and I are probably going to get 5 people together and science the hell out of the Booyah Bomb, which is really nice. So, also, with the update, we've got Skipper Pavilion, the final map of the game. As far as we can tell, it might actually be the same kind of reflectional and not rotational symmetry as Salt Spray Rig, but hopefully designed better. So, we'll hold out on that one. We're probably going to do some of the Booyah Bomb testing on this actual match, so that's actually pretty okay. Other than that, very quickly, okay, here. So, 2 new bands, Sashimori and Despair. Despair is the one with those Squid Squad guy. So, Squid Squad guy, jeez. So 2 new bands, 2 new tracks from each of them. I don't know if we've actually got samples of them, so they might be... I feel like Despair might be a bit closer to Squid Squad from the original game, just in terms of overall sound, but other than that, I feel like they're going to be bringing back new styles. So, hey! Balance-wise, I don't really know what this is going to be, because we're also getting 4 weapons here. So, other than that, I don't really know what to believe anymore. But beyond that, yeah, this is a pretty okay patch. I'm actually pretty excited to start playing the game again, so I guess it's doing its job. I don't know. Stay tuned for the stream, and until next video, this is Luxin, signing off.